This is VOA News. Reporting by remote, I'm Joe Ramsey. The United States Tuesday called on Moscow to comply promptly with Kazakhstan's request to pull Russian troops out of the country after Washington questioned the deployment following rare unrest there. State Department spokesman Ned Price said the United States welcomed a return to calm in the Central Asian nation after dozens died, and President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev issued shoot-to-kill orders. Tokayev on Tuesday announced that a, quote, phased withdrawal of troops from the Moscow-led alliance would begin in 2 days and take no more than 10 days. Tokayev, backed by Russia, described the unrest as a coup attempt and called in the group due to purported foreign influence. The narrative, though, has been doubted by outside rights experts who believe protests were prompted largely over concern of mounting fuel costs. U.S. President Joe Biden on Tuesday made an impassioned plea for United States voting rights legislation stalled in Congress and said Democratic lawmakers should make a major change in Senate rules to override Republican opposition, calling it a battle for the soul of America. Biden put the voting rights effort on par with the fight against segregation by slain civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. He also likened it to the struggle against the forces behind the assault on the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2020, by supporters of former President Donald Trump, which Biden called an attempted coup. Biden said if no breakthrough on legislation can be achieved, lawmakers in the Senate should, quote, change the rules, including getting rid of the filibuster for this. It was Biden's most direct plea to date for the Senate to change its rules. Find more at voanews.com. This is VOA News. North Korea appeared to test fire a ballistic missile on Tuesday that may be more advanced than a so-called hypersonic one it launched less than a week ago, South Korea's military said, as Pyongyang pursues increasingly powerful weapons. Initial estimates found the missile traveled more than 700 kilometers to a maximum altitude of 60 kilometers high at up to 10 times the speed of sound, South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said in a statement. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration said on Tuesday it briefly halted departures at some U.S. West Coast airports around the time of reports that North Korea had launched the ballistic missile. UN Security Council resolutions ban all North Korean ballistic missile and nuclear tests and have imposed sanctions over the programs. Tuesday's test occurred hours after the U.S. mission to the United Nations, joined by France, Ireland, Japan, Britain, and Albania, condemned last week's launch and called on UN member states to fulfill their sanctions obligations. Argentina's capital, Buenos Aires, was hit by a major power outage on Tuesday that left thousands of homes without electricity amid a heat wave that has some temperatures soaring above 40 degrees Celsius or 104 degrees Fahrenheit, some of the highest in the world. Electricity distributors reported power outages as the high temperatures generated a spike in demand for energy to cool homes and businesses. Officials said a power cut had affected more than 700,000 in the Buenos Aires area. High temperatures are expected to continue throughout the week, with peaks close to 40 degrees Celsius, according to the National Meteorological Service. Pressure on Mali's ruling junta increased Tuesday as France and the United States underlined their support for the West African bloc ECOWAS, which has slapped sanctions on the country over delayed elections following 2 coups. In a sharp escalation after months of diplomatic tensions, leaders from the Economic Community of West African States on Sunday agreed to shutter borders with the Sahel state and impose a trade embargo. The move came after Mali's interim government last month proposed staying in power for up to 5 years before staging elections, despite international demands that respect the promise to hold elections on February 27th of this year. As well as shutting borders and imposing a trade embargo, the bloc also agreed to halt financial aid to Mali and freeze its assets at the Central Bank of West African States. Mali's junta has condemned the measures and urged Malians to stage nationwide demonstrations against them on Friday. Follow us on the VOA mobile app. Reporting by remote, I'm Joe Ramsey.